Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is good to be back and to see many of you guys here in the chat. We've got Wooter, Vincius, TW, George, Golden Boy, Kentucky Hiker, Philip, Jeffrey, and Mr. Camera Junkie coming in hot. Good to see you guys. Oh, we got Roz down here, Bailey, Parker. Good to see everyone. Good evening. So back again for another week. This is another episode of Video Production Helpline. So if you guys have any questions, you can start lining those up in the chat and we will start running through those. A couple things just to kind of tidy stuff up before we dive into questions is, let's go ahead and hop over here. Whoop, that's my desk. There we go. So on the Academy, that's academy.dslrvideoshooter.com. A little bit ago here, we got the A7 IV video guide up. So if you're interested in that or Sony LUTs, that is now available. Currently, I am working on a guide and LUT pack for the Panasonic GH6. We'll go to this page. This is, by the way, academy.dslrvideoshooter. You can subscribe here, but working on the GH6, and that'll come with LUTs, including in-camera false color. So that's what I'm working on right now. Beyond that, we've got the Canon R5C and I'm going to be working on a guide for that. And then a beast is in the works, content creators guide. This is going to be, I don't know, at this point it's looking like 150 videos. It's essentially everything I've learned over the last 10 years, all in one massive guide. So if you want to stay up to date on that, you can go to academy.dslrvideoshooter and you can subscribe for updates there. Over on the channel, we released a video that completely bombed yesterday, but the Sirui Jupiter lens video. So if you're interested in cinema lenses, you can check those out. And then last piece of news before we move on to today's show is right after this show. By the way, let me know if we're having any issues here with audio. I just realized I changed out microphones and I didn't fully test levels or ask you guys how things are sounding. So let me know how things sound, if it's loud enough. But the last piece of news is after this stream, in about 40 minutes, I'm going to be heading over to Jem Schofield's channel, the C47, and we're doing an episode of Camera and Flask, and we're going to be talking about NAB 2022, everything we saw, everything we, thought was interesting, where we think the industry's going. I'm pretty sure going to talk a lot about virtual production. So if you want to learn about that stuff or hear about it, there's a link in the description of this video, and I'll post that link at the end, and that's going to take you to the next stream. So with all that out of the way, let's dive into the chat, shall we? I already see there's been some things happening. Alex Miner, welcome. Oh, it's so great to see you guys. Sorry we missed last week. Last week, the entire family got sick. Well, except for me, somehow. Everyone got sick, so I was at home with all that stuff. But everyone's feeling better, so that's great. We have already a super chat, $10 from Marine X. Question, best B camera for the Sony FX3. I mostly film in ProRes RAW with the Ninja 5. Will a cheaper cam that does S-Cinetone clash? I would say your options are A7S3, because that's pretty much the same camera, but $500 cheaper. Or wait, $1,000 cheaper? $500, I think. The other option is the A7 IV. That's going to do great and it look very similar. Beyond that, if you start trying other cameras, you're probably going to run into some issues. If you're looking for a B cam for your FX3, I would say A7 IV is probably your best bet, or the A7S3. Yes, I can say hello to you, David. Good to see you. Lower Pixels recently started YouTube and I'm loving it. Amazingly, some brands started to reach out to me. Oh, sweet. How do you deal with them? I'd love to know your insight. So love your work. Recently started. Okay, so brands reaching out to you. That is a fantastic question, Laura. How do you deal with that? Well, there's several different methods or ways you can go about it. And what I'm about to say, I'm not trying to judge anybody at all. I'm just going to tell you what I do. I would recommend, not accepting money for a review, if that's what we're talking about. If people are sending you stuff to review or talk about on your channel, disclose everything up front when you make your video. And I usually try to have like a little, someday I'll share this, but it's a list of things that I send to people when they request and I'm interested in checking out that stuff. And it's kind of like an ethics statement and what they can expect. It's similar to like having a client. You want to make sure they're comfortable, make sure, you know, they know you want to be comfortable with the whole deal. Everyone knows what's going on. There's no questions. It's all out in the open. So figure out what you want. You know, are you going to be charging for this stuff? Are you going to have sponsors? Is this something you're not going to charge for, but you're going to disclose? All that stuff. And thank you for the kind words. And again, Marine X, thank you so much for the donation. Let's see. Is there a lav mic you'd use for the Rode Wireless Go 2? Okay, so good question. Yes, Blake. Currently, I'm using the Rode. There's two. They have a new one now. It's the Rode Wireless Go Lav Go. Let's look it up here. And then they have a new one that they came out with, which is also very good. So let's hop over to B&H here. Let's go Rode Lav. Is it the Go 2? So there's that one. This guy, the Rode Lavalier 2. Okay, so this is option 1, I would say. Rode Lavalier Go omnidirectional. I use this a ton. And then the new one is the Rode 2. So this isn't the Go version. This is a slightly more pro, but it is designed to work with the Go's. And this is a great mic. So either of those would do you well. And I think those would work just fine. I've used both with the Rode. And that's probably what I would use, honestly. There's a lot of terrible lavs out. And so far I found that Rode is pretty solid stuff. Do you think the rumored EOS R10 will have a mic input? That's a good question. I just heard that there were rumors, but I have not looked into them. Looking for that GH6 content. I got you, Ricardo. Really looking forward to releasing that in-camera false color LUT. I'm going to take these out. I don't know why I have these on, just to monitor the intro audio. But yes, really fun stuff. Let's see. False color in GH6, yep, it's a good time. Used it at NAB, it worked beautifully. And a super chat from the one and only Alex Miner, longtime supporter of the channel. Your weekly bribe, sir. Well, it's good to be here and good to see you too, man. Thank you so much, Alex, as always. Super not necessary. Adam, do you have any tutorials on how to stream with a Panasonic G7? I want to say circa 2018, 2019, I did some videos. Maybe 2017. I don't remember, but I have covered that. But yes, pretty straightforward. Clean HDMI out. Send that over to your streaming device. I don't think you can do audio over the camera over HDMI. But yeah, check out my older, search my channel for G7, and I know a lot of my streams I talked about streaming with that setup. Sounds good, looks good, great. I'll have to talk about this microphone. Let me mute it real quick and take the cover off here. Does it look familiar? Does this mic look familiar to you? I don't know if you can see that. Let me move it a little closer to the camera. Actually, we'll do this. Will this work? Let's see if I can get that in focus. What is that, you might wonder? Well, we'll talk about it in a video, so don't worry. But essentially, it's this guy. But, I don't know, a fifth, a sixth, a tenth the cost. Sorry, I'll mute this again. There we go. Fun little teaser for you. Should be a good time. Let's see. Scrolling down. What do you think about the Sony a6600? I like it, except I hate the color. But that's another thing I haven't mentioned is I'm almost done with the Sony Gen 1 color LUT. So I have a LUT available for Sony cameras, for 10-bit cameras. Love it. Made it for myself and ended up just putting it out there for everyone else. But I am working on a similar one for the original kind of 8-bit style camera. So that is coming. With that, the A6, it breathes new life. I got an A7S Mark II, and it makes the camera like brand new. It's really exciting, so I can't wait to share that. What do we have here? Shooting video with the M50 and SL2. Happy with my lenses. What would the next logical camera upgrade path be? So that is a great question and kind of an awkward one. Canon really has a rough situation going on. Once you dip below the EOS R, you're looking at, I guess, DSLR. So, I mean, what is the current one? A 90D? Someone help me out here. Is that kind of the newest one? But you're really not going to get that much more. It's just going to be easier to use all around. This is an M50, this angle, and the camera is just, I don't know, it's rough. So I would say that, or an RP, which is what I'm using to stream with right now, the Canon RP. You have the EOS R, one of those, and then there's a massive leap up to the R6 and R5. I hope Canon kind of cleans that up. Great question, but that's probably what I would stick with. All right. Oh, enjoyed yesterday's video. Nice, thank you, Mr. Junkie. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one there. Do you see yourself making an iPhone guide, like a Filmic Pro? Probably not. I'm waiting for that stuff to kind of reach a certain level, and then I might dip my toes into it. But as it is now, it's kind of outside of my niche, if you will. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Good to see you, Samantha. Jupiter lenses look great. Yeah, Jared. They're super fun. And I've got more lens videos. I've got one coming out tomorrow, and then I have 2 more, and then I'm going to take a break because I think I've worked that lens thing a little too hard. Everything started announcing and coming out all at the same time. So it's like May is like lens month. Not sure if you have Sony's ear, but any chance of a firmware update to be able to custom white balance in a custom preset. It's bonkers that's currently not possible. That's a great question. I don't have Sony's ear, but it does seem like a really silly thing to not have work. It's not my fault, thanks. Yeah, nice. It's my fault, honestly. Obviously, the video wasn't mass marketable or wasn't watchable by the mass. All right, let's look down here. Shooting my first wedding soon. Worried about autofocus of my Nikon on a gimbal. Any tips? Not for Nikon. I don't know the Nikon autofocus system that much, or which Nikon, but let us know and maybe we can help you out in the chat here. Ben, I missed one from Ben's Watch Club. Good to see you, Ben. Best on-camera mic, doesn't require additional power, looking for the strongest output signal without batteries. I'm going to go with Rode. It's going to be one of 4 microphones, okay? Maybe more than that. But Deity and Rode currently have the best on-camera offerings. On the Rode end, it's going to be the Rode Video Mic Go 2. Fantastic microphone. Recently did a review on it. Then you've got the Rode Video Mic NTG. Never did a video on that, but also a good microphone. On the Deity side, they're going to be the loudest, easily, hands down. If you just want a loud or sensitive microphone, go Deity. You've got their Mini. They have so many Duo, and then the Deity D3 Pro. So for $50, I think the Mini from Deity, I did a review on the channel not that long ago. It's in my video of like gear under $50. $50, you're done. On-camera mic, has an input and an output, so that's really cool. So that's probably what I recommend. Otherwise, I really, really like that Rode Video Mic Go 2 because you can use it as a USB microphone for stuff like this if you wanted to. Alrighty, and then Alex is dropping in with a Comica, which I've not tried. Please only ask your question. Oh, sorry. Best cheap DSLR mirrorless for use as a webcam. Yeah, so if you're going to go HDMI, I mean, someone mentioned earlier the G7. I haven't checked the pricing on that, but the Panasonic G7, I use that for streaming for years. If you go back to some of my older live streams, you'll probably find almost all of them were using that camera. All right, let's look down here. Sony FX6 or C70. Yikes, that's a tough one. I would say, what's your priority? Full frame or kind of color dynamic-y range? Because the C70 has some kind of special magic sauce. But the FX6 is full frame. You know, kind of some stuff to choose from there. That's a tough one. Apps to cut out silence and A-roll talking head videos, or do you prefer? I do it all myself. I'm pretty fast, Dan, and I also have an assistant editor that does that for me. But I haven't tried those. I mean, hey, if they work, why not? quick question about soundproofing. I'm looking for some general advice. I want to have a sound booth at home. Okay, so soundproofing and sound treatment are completely different. Soundproofing is blocking sound from leaving or entering or leaving. And then acoustic treatment is within the space. Are you trying to treat it so that when you speak, it doesn't reverberate and bounce all over the room? Soundproofing is incredibly difficult and expensive. Treatment is way easier. So figure out which one you want. And I've done a video on that, a couple, but I don't really cover soundproofing much, mainly treatment. And in that case, it's blankets or sound panels or foam. Let us see. Favorite video tripod, John. That's a loaded question. Right now, it is the E on the budget end. I don't know if you call it budget, depends. It's all relative, right? The GH06, not GH6, from E-Image is my favorite tripod right now. It's kind of a medium duty to heavy duty. On the budget end, I haven't checked anything out recently. One of my old trusted, cheap heads is the FM18. I think B&H sells it. But I haven't delved. I know iFootage has some good stuff right now. So Sure is making tripods and monopods. So that's probably what I would start with, though. Always good to read your words. Fat Calf. Thanks for swinging by, man. All right, we covered that. Of course, the air in the studio auto switches at a certain time, and I think it's right now, so it's starting to get a little toasty. So we're going to have to switch that before the next stream. What is the white piece of plastic on your mic arm? Thanks for everything, as always. Thank you, Sigmund. If you didn't catch the thing, this is a 3D printed microphone. It looks just like this guy, right? I'll have a video on this whole situation. But I essentially made one of these, put a different microphone in it, or capsule, and it's super cheap compared to this. So this, the one and only SM7B, of course it's not going to focus. SM7B, and this is similar to that. So stay tuned for that on the channel. And the white piece is just, I use white filament for that part of the microphone. Oh boy, we got good questions rolling in, boys and girls. Best practices, tips, and tricks for traveling with gear, specifically asking in regards for a job where I have to travel overseas. Okay, so there's all kinds of stuff, but some simple ones. Cameras, lenses, media travel with you, and your support equipment travel checked, right? Make sure you have a backup plan. Make sure you know exactly where all the rental houses, Best Buys, whatever version of that is where you're going. So if things are lost, broken, you can pick things up quickly. And then, use not video geary style. Don't use giant Pelican cases. Use golf equipment bags and giant duffel bags to carry your heavy stuff or check your heavy stuff. But that's probably what I would start with. And then, again, have a plan for when you land and you know where stuff is if you need to buy stuff. All right, so that's that. Good. We talked about that. A6400 plus monitor, super portable rigged. Would you go with 2 Sony MPF batteries or 1 mini V mount? 1 mini V mount. I'm kind of done messing with those little, MPF things. I think those mini V mounts, they're getting really affordable. You can power a ton of stuff off of them. So 100%, that's the route I would take. Excited to be here. Excited to see you, Kyle. Videos helped you. Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Kyle. That means a lot to hear. Glad to have you here, man. Building Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, Lumix. Do you have any video on filters for video? Are you talking about on your lens? Well, I did one a long time ago. I want to do another one because certain companies have shown up, like these guys. First of all, they gave me this t-shirt. I'll turn around so you can see the logo. Check them out. So there's a couple new things that have come out that I want to try and compare. So stay tuned. And that's a whole nother topic we can talk about in another stream, but I want to kind of get back to DSLR video shooter / Caleb circa 2018. So let's talk about that another time. Man, Man, it is getting toasty in here. It's hot here in the Midwest. Let's see. Odd question. Using Resolve free version doesn't support 10-bit on the R6. Yikes. Any Resolve pros, can we help Stupper Fox out here? Because I don't know. Dude, 8-bit LUT fire. Did I get you one of those, Mr. Camera? Let me know. And for those who requested to be in the beta, I'm sorry. I'm way behind on email, and I'll eventually get to you, so I apologize. What do you think of the Sony EZ-V10? EZ-V10 is a home studio main camera. Sony EZ-V10. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look that up. 90D, yes, the news one. Cool, cool. Wow, I'm behind, folks. We got to catch up here. And a super chat from Kentucky Hiker. That's an awesome thumbnail. What do we got here? Can you explain what term native means? For example, when a CPU says it doesn't natively support 10-bit 422, having trouble wrapping my head around technical explanation of native. Well, I don't know about CPUs, but I know on sensors, you know, a sensor has a native resolution, meaning it's capable of, let's say, 7K, right? But it's only going to capture 4K or 1080. So that's the way I interpret native. You know, out of the box is another way to put it. I don't know about CPUs, though, but anyone who's proficient in that, you know, if Linus Tech Tips is hanging out in here, he can hook us up. What do we got? What do we got? What do you think of the M50? Do you have a... no, I don't have a LUT for the M50. Any more lighting videos on the way? Love lighting videos. Yeah, Alex, that kind of goes back to my comment. I go through these, like, we'll talk about it another time. But yes, I want to get back into lighting. I want to get back into tutorials. Less gear reviews, more let's make better videos together kind of stuff. Notice you haven't talked about Nikon lenses. True, don't really shoot on Nikon. Another super chat from Philip Curry, $9.99. Hey Caleb, just want to say thank you so much for everything. I'm a creative director at a church in Philadelphia. Your work advice has impacted thousands more than you know. Thank you. Wow, Philip, that's super kind. Thank you so much for the donation and the kind words. It really does mean a lot. And if we can help, going back to a previous super chat, if anyone can hook up Kentucky Hiker with an explanation, he's struggling with some 422 10-bit stuff. I think he dropped some information at the very beginning of the stream too. What would be the best price product lighting equipment? Best price for product lighting equipment. Fantastic question, Jim. Actually, one of my upcoming videos that I want to do is on this. I'm going to go with, I don't know, an Amaran 60D or 100D, a softbox, and a stand with a table. You put the softbox, backlight everything. That's the thing with product. Kind of top down and backlighting. Don't, you know, point the light straight at your subject, and use bounce boards. So I've got actually a video on this topic. If you search my channel for B-roll, I have a series of videos, 3-part series talking about all of that. And there's some older lights in there, but you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about. Good question. What is the mic brand that is being discussed here? DD. No, this is, are we talking about this? This thing right here? This is not available for purchase. It's kind of like a DIY situation. Before we were talking about Deity and Rode. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The spelling, right. Deity. Like, oh, they're a part of the deity, you know, the kingdom. Yeah. What Coalition said. I've got the Rode video mic go-to based on your review. Great mic, very directional, required some getting used to. Nice. Yep. Yeah, if you're going to have it, yeah, you definitely want to point that puppy. Unlike the original Go, which was not Omni, was it? No, or it was cardioid, not super cardioid. That's what it was. When I add a LUT to S-Log3 live streaming via OBS, it doesn't look the same as when adding a LUT in DaVinci Resolve. Yikes, that's a huge can of worm, Doctor. Are you on an Apple machine or are you on a Windows environment? Because that's going to be a big thing. But yes, there's I have the same thing, and I'm on an Apple system. So Final Cut, DaVinci, same LUT, completely different results. They provide. Okay, let's see. Would love to revisit the Ronin 4D and Jude after some firmware updates. As it stands, been the most fun camera I've ever used as a Sony guy. I hear you. Oh, it's good to see it, Dominic. I hear you, man. I just want that thing without the gimbal. Oh, I want that so bad. All right, let's see. Let's see. I'm going to jump down here. All right, we got a question. Sigmund, I'm moving into an apartment with one wall being window. Do you have any tips against light reflections if using as a backdrop, especially at night? So if you're using the window is the window in your background? Is that what you're saying? So windows, you can block them off. You can net them, get some netting or some screen, buy some screen somewhere. You can ND them, where you buy a gel. It's kind of like sunglasses for your windows. Those are all options. At night, I hear what you mean. Okay, so reflections hitting the light. That's going to have to do with lighting angles. You're going to have to move your lights in a way that they're not hitting the window behind you. So one thing you could do, let's say there's a window right behind me. Instead of having my key light right here where it's going to hit the background, swing the key around so it's firing across me, then bring in a white foam board or something to fill in the side of your face. That way everything's kind of doing this and not this, if that makes sense. Cheapest product, record HDMI into a PC. Not Elgato. There's like $30, maybe they're more now. I've talked about them. If you look at my $2,000 live streaming or YouTube desk setup video, you'll find it in there. It's really affordable. It's a little tiny USB 1 or 2.0, I think. Okay, folks, we are way behind, so I'm going to scroll down here, and we're going to start fresh. So if I missed your question, go ahead and repost it. I apologize. I'm going to try to catch up here. All right, do you use the YOLObox Pro for live streaming? I do not. I use Blackmagic's Atem Mini ISO. Atem Mini Pro ISO. There we go. All right. What else do we have here? Have you tried the Ronin 3D focus module, the older LiDAR one? I have not, Dwight, so I couldn't speak to that. Oh, you're on a 16-inch too. Okay. Got it. My guess is it has something to do with a setting somewhere. So OBS, let me grab some water. OBS is kind of like the Wild West with... Epos Vox might know. If you look up Epos Vox on YouTube, he is a wizard with OBS, and there might be a setting in there where you need to change it from YUV to, RGB or something like that. All right. Would you recommend as a good desk light for face cams, a light for setup on desk? Okay, so setup like I have now. There's a lot of options. If you just search my channel for desk, you're going to come across a ton of setups that I've done. I've used LED mats. I've used big soft boxes. Right now, LED mats is probably my favorite option, but you could use a tube light. There's a lot of different ways, but probably an LED mat. You want something big. If you want it to look like this, it's got to be a big light source. That's just because the larger the source is, the more soft it's going to lay light on yourself. And yeah, that's what I recommend. What are my thoughts on the EV mic regarding, I don't know what that means. Coffee high 240. Different if used with Ecamm Live. Will it differ? I don't know. I haven't used LUTs with Ecamm Live. It's a good question. Epos Vox, yes. Ask him. If you're talking OBS, this guy's a wizard. Epos Vox. All right. So, wow, well, now I'm caught up, so I might scroll up a little bit and see if I can catch a few questions here. There's a good one. What do you prefer for remote editing, NAS or cloud solutions? Right now, we use a kind of a DIY Apple NAS over 10 gig. So I have a Mac Mini Pro, I think, in a closet connected to a ton of RAID boxes, or 2 giant RAID boxes. And then that is connected. I got the unit that has the 10 gig connection, and then a Thunderbolt 10G adapter going to my office and my assistant editor's office. We're both able to edit off of the same drive. And then we use SSDs for smaller, lightweight stuff, but everything's archived in the vault on that server. So that's what we use now. I haven't done a lot of remote editing, but I'm curious to try that out now that we're starting to see that tech really take off. Atomus, Blackmagic, and others are starting to develop some really cool stuff. So maybe in the future, but not just yet. All right, scrolling back down. Sick. What kind of projects are you working on outside of your channel? A bunch of DIY stuff. Some of you know, maybe some of you are in here, but I actually developed and sold 20 of those Blackmagic Atem mini cases. And I was drumming up to be able to do that, continuously. Ended up canning that project because getting parts right now is nuts. But I am working on a version 3, which is, I wish I had it with me. I could show you guys. But I'm working on more Atem mini cases. We're going to do one for the Extreme, one for the minis, and they're going to be DIY kits. So I'm playing with that kind of stuff on the side. When it comes to actual shooting projects, if that's what you're talking about, just a lot of personal stuff, filming things that, it seems kind of strange. Like, why wouldn't you share everything online? But when you do that full time every week, it's kind of nice to have some stuff that just doesn't go up. So yeah. What are your thoughts on Zcam range? Personally, I love them. Not really use them, Jamie. Not knocking them. I love the form factor. I just not as interested in what they have going on. I'm more of a Sony, Canon, Panasonic, kind of guy, I guess you could say. Man, I'm so thirsty. I got to turn this air down. Whew, it's getting toasty. Are Yongnuo lights any good? I haven't used them in a long time, but back in the day, they were a great budget option, but I haven't checked their line recently. What sound panels do you recommend? So there's a couple. I use sound blankets. Those are great. Panel-wise, I'm really enjoying GIK. Oh, Infinity Land. Hang on. There we go. All right, let's go check this out. GIK acoustics. Is that the one, right? These guys. If I can get it to load. These folks right here have really great products. So in this space, actually, I've got some I can even pick up. These right here, the 2-inch spot. Wow, their site is so slow. 2-inch spot panels. This is the stuff right here. So they're pretty affordable. 6 panels, $250. That's for a small square 2x4. Let's see. 2x48 right here. $203 for 3. So I'm going to grab one real quick. It's right next to me on the floor here. So these panels are really affordable and incredibly good. These are only the 2-inch thick versions, but check this out. I'm just going to talk here and I'm going to slowly bring it in and you can tell me if you hear a difference. But they're very, very dense. It's pretty amazing what they do. So again, I'm just going to bring it in. I'll even keep it further away and see if you can hear a difference. This microphone is super close proximity, so you might not, but just me hearing it with my ear is insane. So these are fantastic, really affordable. You can get a little swatch from them, pick out the fabric you want. Let me set it back down over here. So in this space, I've done a video. The link to that video is in the description where I talk about those, but I really like them. They look way better than sound blankets. Otherwise, sound blankets from vocalbooth2go.com. I have a lot of those around here. Okay, what do we got? Okay. Hi, Caleb. I'd like to ask you advice for reaching out to companies and agencies. I'm a young cinematographer, videographer specialized in Steadicam. Most have turned me down so far. Well, if you're looking for companies and agencies, so I would just try to get on as many sets as possible and start building relationships. Do whatever it takes. Sweep out the grip truck, vacuum, grab people coffee if you have to go to that level. But just get involved, get to know people. Then you'll start getting to know crews, directors, DPs, all that fun stuff. So that's where I would say to start. Any idea when the camera shortage will be over? Not being able to buy cameras is driving me nuts. I hear you, Kyle. Excuse me. I took the first pay cut in 10 years because I don't do sponsorship, so a lot of the income is affiliate income, and everything is out of stock. It's super insane. To answer your question, I have no idea. Hopefully soon, because it's bad out there. It's not just cameras. It's a lot of stuff. I was trying to buy floppy cutters the other day. That's out of stock, so that's not fun. Hey, Kill, love your channel. What do you think of the C200? I really want to purchase it, but afraid 4K isn't enough. Oh, I wouldn't worry about 4K at all. I would worry about the lack of 10-bit in 4K unless you shoot RAW on that camera. That's the only thing that kept me from buying it, and I might do a video on it. I'm sure I will at some point. Otherwise, yeah, the S1H is fantastic. You could wait. The problem is, it's hard to, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I might wait. If you can, the longer you wait, the more options will become available. But I might wait until August before I make a move. And then if you're not going to get anything in August, wait until December and then go from there. Mixpre 3.2 is no longer available, and I have to consider whether I buy a 6 or a Zoom FX F6. But the 6 is twice the price, worth paying double. Ooh, if you really don't need the extra XLR, that's a tough one. I would lean toward buying something sound devices. I just can't get over how good those two devices are. So yeah, that's what I would say is sticking with that if possible. Otherwise, yeah, get what you need to. The F6, that's the one with the 6 XLR inputs. Well, what's the price difference on those, I wonder? Yeah, if possible, go with the sound device is just so much better quality, the actual housing and everything, and there's so many modules you can purchase for it and software. So I'd probably say, if possible, swing for that. You won't regret it, trust me. Do you ever use a strap with a rig? I'm trying to figure out the best way to have a strap for run and gun shooting. Interesting. Yeah, you can get little hand straps, or are you talking like a full swinging lanyard? There's a bunch of those. I haven't tried them in years, but special ones that the camera slides and rests at your hip. All that stuff you could totally go for that. Is equipment insurance a good idea? Absolutely, it is. Know of any good options? I'm a freelancer hoping to not go broke in case of any accidents. 100% get equipment insurance, unless your gear is, I don't know, if everything you own is under $1,500, then maybe that might not be worth it. I've tried online services, all this crazy stuff, and I would say the best solution is to call up, just go on Google and find some highly rated brokers, insurance brokers in your area. A buddy of mine told me about the one he used. I called them up and I said, this is what I do for a living. Here's the situations I'm in and filming in, and my employees and everything involving my business, how much gear I have, what it costs, what the most expensive items are, so cinema cameras or the most expensive individual things. Then they shop for you and they find a quote, and then they hook you up, and then it's all automated from there. So that's what I would recommend, and you can save a lot of money. So if you don't want to fuss with it, all those online ones, they're kind of sketch. It's hard to tell what's actually going to go down when you need insurance to come through. So yeah, excuse me, I would recommend finding an insurance broker. But hey, if anyone else in the chat here has other recommendations, I would love to hear your thoughts. Man, DIY is totally viable for Rockwool. Yes, Rockwool is the best. Going up one here. Great channel, watch all the time. Thank you. Where can we see some of your work besides this? No, this is it, man. You're looking at it. I've got some ancient work but I haven't been my own like video production company. What is it? 7 years now. So the newest stuff when it comes to my work is what I do here on the channel, and then some things that are offline. Do you think Panasonic is ever going to change their autofocusing system? They have to someday, right? I can't see it being 2032 and they still have contrast-based autofocus. But who knows? Who knows? They seem pretty stubborn about it. So we'll have to just wait and see. Good to see you, Coffee. Hi, take care. Good to see you. All right, let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Your glasses never reflect the light source. They do. If I do this, right? Boom. But when your light source is large, it kind of hides it, right? Otherwise, yeah, just set the light off into one side and you're good to go. Your audio is pretty annoying hum noise. Ooh, sorry about that. Anyone else hearing that? Hopefully it goes away. Let me know if it's still there. What do I do for live streaming comments? The software is in the description. It's called Ecamm Live. That is an affiliated link, just letting you know. Full disclosure. Love your videos. If I do macroed, wild, some videos, controlled space with one light camera, a few used lenses, one tripod. With one light, one camera. With a $100 budget. What are you looking for? The light or just everything for that? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to say Amaranth. Their cheap lights are amazing right now. Nah, probably not reviewing the Nikon Z9. Could you have a steady income as a freelancer, or you recommend working for a big company? That's a great question. It really depends. Freelance, if you're a great hustler and you're out there slinging it, do that. Otherwise, in-house, being an in-house video guy is a good way to go too. Donation from Domson. Thank you for donation. Recently got the GH6. I get so much static noise in vlog, even during the day. Did you have a problem with that? I did not. What are you shooting at? You shooting at that 2000 boost mode? I found with that, it's only helpful when it is a high dynamic range scene. Otherwise, turn it off and just shoot at the lower native ISO, and then, or the non-boost mode. Otherwise, make sure you overexpose your footage, no matter what. You want to overexpose and bring it down in post. That's going to massively help with noise. And thank you for the donation. Boom, we did the autofocus question. There's some info on insurance. Thank you, Brian. What audio recorder would you recommend amongst these three? Zoom F3, Tascam, Zoom F6. I've never heard of the Porta Capture XA. Oh, maybe I have. Is that? Yeah. I haven't played with Zoom stuff in a while, but I would lean toward a Zoom F6. The F3, that's the smaller version of that, but it still has 32-bit float, right? Yeah, 32-bit is definitely something I would want. How are you staying fit? I remember a couple years ago you mentioned being a new priority. Well, I tore my MCL, so I haven't been doing a lot, but I try to, on a good week, do 15 minutes a day. I have that Power 90 DVDs or videos from like years ago, and I got sick and tired of spending 45 minutes a day working out, so I actually just threw it all into Final Cut and cut it up into like 15-minute little workouts. Otherwise, standing at the desk is great. Yeah. Okay, no hum. When going external with audio, which recorder to get? Usually 2 to 3 XLR inputs. I mean, if possible, try to swing for that Sound Devices Mix Pre line. Otherwise, the Zoom F3. Wait, does that? No, not the F2. F3, F6. Those would work. But try to get something 32-bit float. If you're buying today, 100% try to get 32-bit float. Great question. All right. It's very faint, but I don't mind. Interesting. Check. Huh. That is the correct microphone, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Here, I'll bring the microphone a little closer, right? We'll do that. Have I used the Viltrox Speed Booster? I have, and it's a good budget option. It's not as nice as the Metabones, but it'll get the job done. Interesting. So we're having some issues with the audio for some people. Huh. Sorry about that, folks. I'll have to switch microphones after this. It's probably because the XLR is going through a rat's nest of other cables. Let's see. Oh, let me make sure my... Yeah, that's turned off. Huh. Okay, just making sure some settings weren't changed over on my preamp. All right, so we're going to go for a little longer here, folks. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom because I'm behind. Dadgummit. Power 90X edited down. Actually, it's just the wussy Power 90, not the X, Mr. Camera Junkie. Yes, the F2 is super great. No XLR, that's correct. But that thing's awesome. Is the new, what is it, the F3, right? That has 32-bit. Isn't that the new little guy? Or no? 100% dandy. Nice. I see you streaming some wild artifacts in the corners and low areas. Are we struggling? Do you know, struggling for that for our church? Do you know what that is? I don't know. It could be YouTube. They're saying right now, it's saying the stream's current bit rate is lower than recommended. We recommend you use a larger something something. So I'll have to test my speeds, but I should be plenty fast right now. But you want to make sure those upload speeds are insane and that you're all wired in. So yeah, I'll have to watch this after the fact and see what's up. It could be, is there anything? Ooh, there might be some cloud backups going on right now. So our entire RAID server might be also up fighting for bandwidth. So that could be the issue. Okay, thank you, Mr. Junkie. Thank you, thank you. Sick. F3 does have all that stuff. Okay. Do I have any experience with the iFootage Shark Nano? Yes. Do they have a new version since? I did a review on the original Shark Nano Mini. Looking to replace... so I haven't used it that much. I knew it didn't handle weight well. Currently, I use the Rhino Arc 2, and that's been, you know, it's had issues like everything, but it's been the most reliable automated slider easily for me so far. Now, I haven't used Kessler's stuff, so that might be kind of the next step above Rhino, but it's something good to know. Pick one, the Sony a7 IV or the GH6. Yikes, Levi, that's a tough one. I'm going to go, if you're like more of a cinema style person and you don't care, you care more about, I don't know, dynamic range, being able to have LUTs in camera. You care a lot about exposure and all those tools. GH6, small form factor, super amazing little cinema camera. If you want full frame, and you're willing to deal with more like, you know, mirrorless hybrid-y issues, the a7 IV, of course, rolling shutter is a massive problem on the a7 IV. But that's kind of what you're dealing with. Right now, for me, a7 IV is my main workhorse for the main shot on the channel, all that stuff. Hey, Caleb, I bought 3 Audio-Technica AT2020 podcast systems, and the audio keeps going in and out sporadically. Huh. I don't know why that is. Maybe check your cables. I don't know what you're going to with your microphone, but that could be an issue as well. But that should be a pretty solid microphone. I've got it right here. Normally it's what I use, so I haven't had that issue. In a corporate video setting, is it common practice to run a boom mic with an XLR cable directly to an XLR input on the camera? Sure it is. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If your camera has a good preamp, then why not? Super straightforward stuff. I prefer to add one more thing to that setup. Have a video recorder, an audio recorder, run your microphone to that, then send an output to your camera. That way, if something happens on the camera, you've got that backup. Especially if you can get one that's 32-bit float, then you're super solid. Best mic for the C100 without top handle, no plug-in power. Ooh, good question. Want to stay compact with the mic. You can get you're looking for like you can either go a dynamic microphone. Actually, this is a dynamic microphone. It doesn't need power at all. You could go dynamic. Is this scratch audio that you're looking for, or like a proper audio situation? Another option is check out let's see. Let's go over and do some shopping. So we're going to go to Beach Tech with a K, right? Yep, Beach Tech. This guy, I think. Yeah, this guy right here. This will give you an XLR input, a bunch of 3.5 millimeter inputs, and then you run that into the camera, and you don't need power. And they make one that has a 9 volt and another that has just like USB rechargeable battery. So that could be a good option as well. But good question. Those are always tricky. James, welcome back. No sweat, man. Oh boy, Rode Wireless Go 2 versus DJI mic. I have the DJI mic in. I just haven't had time to play with it. But let me know if you're interested in that. And maybe we'll do something like that. DFI, great question. Wait a second. There we go. I have a video that I'm planning to do, kind of like a starter kit for, just the best starter gear right now, because things have changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. Do you downscale, edit 6K the same way you do 4K for 1080? I just, scale it down and edit in 4K timeline. Best chart for white balancing, 8 Panasonic cameras for live stream. Probably a decent-ish one. I would imagine the light that you're pointing at it is almost more important, though. So if you just get a nice big gray card, I find sometimes the little cards, even when there's the little box to read it is within the box or within the card, I still have issues. So a big gray card and then have a really high quality light. Or if you can bring all the cameras to one spot where you're going to be filming with the lighting in that space. But I don't have a chart that I'm like in love with. I use just kind of a larger round, like flip out gray card that you can get on Amazon for like 10 or 20 bucks. Whoops. That's Jem letting me know that we're ready to rock and roll next door on the next stream. All right, let's knock out a couple more here. James, how do you recommend mounting a shotgun microphone? I've seen numerous ways, some angled above, verticals, okay, all over the place. Right. So you've got this option, which is a microphone arm. When you have the microphone in here, I could use this exact same setup and just move it out of frame. You could do the same thing overhead, and I'll be talking about that a little bit in an upcoming video, but I've done a video on that. It's like this crazy microphone arm system that I currently use in my main set. You can use a boom pole. I like things that are easily adjustable. Like this is great because I can just move it to wherever I need to be. So I would recommend that. When it comes to over versus under versus the side, think about where it's pointing. Right over here, I have a MacBook screaming, an Intel MacBook. So I don't want this microphone mounted this way where it's going to be pointing toward that loud fan sound. Same thing with under or overhead. If you have ceiling AC vents, you don't want a microphone pointing up toward you. You want it pointing down. So think about all those things. And then it really doesn't matter. Just point it to the right spot, which is for a shotgun microphone, kind of this area here. You don't want it like super mouthy unless you're using a microphone like this. So hopefully that helps you out, James. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, holy smokes, I need to go. So we've got another stream. Check the link in the description. We're going over to the C47. We're going to talk about NAB, virtual production, and more. Hope to see you guys over there. I'm going to grab a quick drink of water, turn the air down, and settle in with a beverage and hang out with the guys over there. So check the link in the description. The C47, youtube.com/the_C4 7. We'll see you guys over there. Thank you guys so much for the donations, for the kind words, for all the great questions. Love you guys, and we will see you next week.